I chose the name Dream Quest because of H.P. Lovecraft's story, Dream Quest of the Unknown Kadar. It's one of his more fantastical sort of works. It's more about, a character called Randolph Carter who goes on a little sort of adventure almost. Unlike his usual work, which is more horror-based, it's about sort of, some kind of a terrifying evil or something like that. There is some elements of horror and monsters and stuff in it, but it was mostly focused on sort of, going to different places, like Author meeting the cats and stuff like that. And I just always thought like it's this, because this character Randolph Carter is almost like a self-insert for Lovecraft himself, and the way I think he kind of like his idealistic vision of what like a world that of his kind of imagination, and so I wanted to kind of use that same kind of a storytelling technique in my own sort of paintings as well, where sort of you create like a little world, and then you can take little parts from it and then use it in your other stories. There's another artist I really like called Jean-Gerard Mobius, and what I really like about him is there's a thing I read before that says like when he is Mobius, he becomes the character Mobius, and that's how he does all of his sci-fi works. And when he's Jean-Gerard or Gier, he does all of his like Western stuff like Blueberry and things like that. So I always thought, oh, that's a really good way of coming up with like new ideas and things, because you can transport your own self as a character within that world, and then you can kind of, I guess, visualize these things a little bit better. Yeah. Well, I want to sort of keep improving my fundamentals. I've been reading a lot of books lately on color and light, so I think in terms of my painting technique, that's probably the two things I like most in my work, is the light and color aspect of it. I think with good lighting you can give a more sort of sense of depth and like a volume to your objects and things, so that's really important to me. But other than that, I would like to do some pixel art stuff, or 3D things, sculpting, digital, anything like that, so yeah. I guess like going back to the question before, I like to sort of, I really like that idea of, Jean-Gerard sort of putting himself in a different character every time he works on, like whether it's a sci-fi or Western stuff. So I kind of see that same thing in my own things. So I have my sci-fi world where it's like those sprawling cities and things like I do. So that's like one kind of place I like to kind of create. And then there's when I like sort of something a bit more historical, a little bit more fantasy, I usually use that animal world. And then there's also, because I really like video games and stuff, so I have that top-down, like pixel-esque style kind of adventure world as well. And I usually have like this little red-robed character that kind of threads through all of the worlds as well. Just I don't know if it's supposed to be me exactly, but just like a recurring character I thought might be kind of cool. Well, for this time, last exhibition was sort of like a mixture of Mongolian culture and Slavic culture, which I think you don't really often see it on sort of like media and things like that. So I just thought it was something interesting to focus on. I find something beautiful about there's a sense of freedom, to those cultures and such. But this exhibition I think is a little bit more skewing to a bit more imaginary side of things. It's not as focused on specific cultures, but there is two pieces. One is a janissary, which is in the Ottoman Empire there was like a kind of a kidnapped sort of I guess you could say like slave kids and sort of kidnapped children and stuff that were trained up to be soldiers for the Ottoman Empire from like Slavic nations and stuff. So that's why I did like a little rabbit work, but it has like the motifs and stuff of the cats, because in the universe that I've created, it's like the cats are a little bit more Altaic, a little bit more sort of Middle Eastern, whereas the rabbits are a little bit more Western. So I thought that's an interesting kind of little story for the rabbit. And then for the cats, I had the buzkashi, which is like a kind of polo game that the Afghan people play, where they have like a headless goat and they kind of drag it around this field and score points with it. So I thought that's a really interesting kind of you know, scene. So I thought I'd, you know, make these two little works, because I always like to have a little bit of those in every exhibition. Yeah. I do feel a little bit more efficient in my speed in working, a little bit more sure. I don't make as many mistakes, I don't have to rub out things as much as I used to. But at the same time, the reason why I have to do these little miniature sketches is because if I don't, usually they're probably 4 times as long, because I'm trying to come up with, you know, things on the go. But I also you know, I don't always follow a sketch. You know, if there's a good idea that I don't need to always, if I can clearly visualize it in my head, I'll just go with it. Yeah, but if it's like a big work, it'll become really sort of chaotic and sprawling if I don't have something to sort of control myself. Oh, definitely. You know, even when I was really little, I always, you know, the first time I saw, I think at school, they taught us how to do perspective drawing. I was just blown away. I wasn't very good at it, but I think over time I've improved. And yeah, definitely. You know, I love environments and stuff, especially when I was playing video games when I was younger, especially isometric ones like Diablo or you know, sort of Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff like that. And it's just, I always felt like you could communicate more with perspective and things like that. So, you know, I was just blown away by those things, and I always thought to myself, you know, I want to be able to draw that. And you know, especially when I saw Final Fantasy 9, it's not isometric or anything, but just the amount of details and stuff that go into all the prop and set pieces and stuff. I was just blown away. And you know, and then there's also for Diablo 3, where it's these beautiful painted works, but they're kind of laid onto something 3-dimensional, and the way they have these set pieces of trees and stuff like that, where they're almost like silhouette cutouts, where they've kind of put onto the foreground of the, you know, when you're playing the game and stuff. I was just blown away, and I just thought I need to draw like this before I die. So yeah.